Hey y'all, welcome back to another video. And today I wanted to talk about this show that I have never ever intended on watching, but so many people kept telling me to watch it, and that's Euphoria. And my homegirl, she kept telling me to keep watching this show. She said, "Why are you not watching Euphoria? It's so good." I said, "No, I don't want to watch it because it's a freaky show. I'm not trying to watch that stuff, bro. Like, I've seen so many TikTok clips of it, and I'm like, dude, I'm not watching this show, bro." And she just kept insisting on, no, just watch it. It's so good. I'm like, I don't know. I'll just have to see about that. So then around this time, the new season just came out, like not too long ago, right? And I'm seeing all these weird clips of Cassie like dressed up as a dog and a baby. I said, what is going on in this show? And then I saw another episode where like Nate was getting beat up by this mob boss for owing him money. I said, he's getting beat up by this dude and he ends up cutting off his pinky toe. And I'm like, what in the world? I said, what is this show even about? So then I posted a story just talking about like, dude, about the show and about season three, right? And I'm seeing so many clips of this new season. I'm like, what is going on with this season? What is this show even about? Because I thought it was just about high schoolers, but apparently in season three they did like a little 5 year time jump, and now they're all adults. So I was like, okay, that makes just a little bit more sense now. But still, though, like, what is this show even about? Because I thought it was just gonna just stay about high schoolers, but I guess not. So that when I posted that story, every well, not everybody, but majority of my female followers kept telling me that the show is so good. I said, how do y'all find the show good? Like, why is it mostly just female followers telling me that the show is good? Because I don't see no man telling me that this show is good. It's mostly just women that are following me telling me that the show is good. So I finally gave in. I was like, okay, they keep telling me the show is good and they keep insisting me on watching, then I'm gonna go ahead and give the show a try. And oh my gosh, guys, this y'all, I don't really like high school dramas at all. And it's like it's not really my cup of tea. But when I watched this show, I ain't gonna lie, I didn't really like it. I don't like it. I only finished up to season two. I did not start on season three. I probably won't start on it. I might not. I don't know. Cause I was telling my homegirl since she was asking me about the show, like, are you watching the new season? I said no. I decided to drop the show because I wanted to watch some other shows I wanted to watch. But this I'll just talk about season one and season two. And those two seasons, I was doing a full depth, well, not a full depth, but like just a little talk on my story about it. And I gave the show a 4 out of 10, but I kind of gave it some grace and gave it like a 5 out of 10 because to remove all the bad things, I feel like the music and the cinematography of the show is good. It's very aesthetic. The cinematography is very aesthetic, and I do like that about the show. And the acting, mainly Zendaya's acting, is the one that I really like the most compared to everybody else. Because they could act, but that's Zendaya, so it's like she know what she doing. She knows how to act. So I liked her acting a lot in the show. It made me get emotional at times for her and her character. And you can't really even tell that's Zendaya playing Rue, because like it's like, dude, like it's a whole completely different person. And of course that's the goal of acting. You try to be a whole completely different person, but a lot of people, when it comes to acting, they literally play themselves in the character. And Zendaya, she doesn't do that. So that's a really nice thing about the show too, and her character. You really sympathize with Rue a lot, even though she makes a lot of destructive decisions, and it still gets you like to sympathize with her, and and show you that, yeah, drug addiction can be very severe. It is a very real thing. But yeah, those were like some of the good points that I had in the show. But now, like, for the bad parts of it, which is a lot, I can't stand any of the characters besides Fez and Lexi and Rue at times, but all the other characters, I think they're so insufferable. And I don't care if they're teenagers or not. because I will say most teenagers do not act like how they act like in that show, and they're not doing most of the things that they do in the show. College, I can see college, but like in high school, maybe not so much. Of course, there's still high schoolers that still do what they do in the show, which is why a lot of people relate to it. Is because some of those things that they did in that show, they people do IRL, and they trauma bond with that show because it relates to them so much. But first point, the hunching, all that hunching that they had in that show, I did not like at all. I couldn't. I guess because I'm a little sensitive, but they do it way too much. And I watched Game of Thrones, and Game of Thrones they had a good amount of it too. But dude, I feel like if Euphoria was way more freakier than that show, they had a lot more weirder things in there, and especially with them like showing, the male private areas. Game of Thrones they only did that like about twice, but in Euphoria they did it like so many times, bro. It's like, dude, yeah, this show is way more freakier than Game of Thrones. Cause I thought I was gonna be able to handle it, but apparently I couldn't handle it. But so yeah, that's the first point. I don't like all the hunching that they have in the show. I feel like it's completely unnecessary at times. I feel like they could have toned it down, like a lot. Actually, they could have toned it down a lot. And yeah, I was just kind of just uncomfortable at times when they were, cause like the teenagers, and we're watching teenagers do the act is like I don't know how to really feel about that. So that's one of the points that I really don't like about the show. And I think I mentioned the characters, but I didn't go too deep into it. But the characters, uh, like I said, they're insufferable. I don't like any of them. Fez and Lexi are like the only two normal people in the show. They still like Fez. He's still like a drug dealer. Like he's doing that, but he still, has some type of morals. Most of the characters in the show don't have any morals at all. They all like self-centered. You got Cassie. Her whole thing is that she wants to be loved, but she goes about that in the wrong way. And, it's mostly because she never really when she had a father, but like, he wasn't really never there. And, he ended up leaving, her and Lexi, so like she never really had a father figure to show her like, yo, this is how a man is supposed to love you. But Cassie doesn't know that. She would just take anything at that point. As long as they're giving her attention, and that's really all she cares about. So Cassie, I don't even if like you could use that, to say like, because that is one of her flaws, and even you could say that, but like at the same time, the way she kind of just backdoored Maddie was like that was a big no no, and because I was sympathizing with her for a little bit, but once she did that, it's like like no, you doing too much now, like yeah, that's a big no no. You can't just go after your friend's ex like that, bro. Y'all can't do that at all, bro. That's not what you're supposed to do. So it's like I don't really got no sympathy for her at all. And Maddie, I mean at times she could be funny, but I think it's just me, but I don't really just care about her like too much like that. I really don't. None of these characters really relate to me because I never did any of the things that they do in that show. So like I can't really relate to them at all. So I don't know if that might be just like a little problem for me. Maybe that's why I don't really like the show that much. Just I can't really relate to it. But I mean, I don't gotta relate to a show to think it's good. But it's just yeah, I just can't relate to any of the characters in it. And let me see, Rue, I do care about her. I care about her more than all the other characters, even though she could make some really destructive decisions at times. She still has my sympathy the most out of anybody because I see like she tries to get better, even though she relapses a lot. I could see that she actually makes an effort, and she really tries when she met Jules. And but then when they was going on that train, it was first her idea to go on that train, but then she realized like, oh, I didn't wanna do this anymore. But Jules kept insisting like, oh, I'm gonna get on that train because they were supposed to meet up with one of Jules' friends, and but she was like, I don't wanna do that, and Jules still ended up going, and she ended up leaving Rue, and that what causes Rue to end up relapsing again. So Yeah, so Jewel, yeah, speaking of Jules, I don't really like her too much either. I don't like nobody in the show. I really don't. Only Fez and Lexi. Lexi, she has her flaws too. She's very judgmental, but at least she's the one that has like like a decent moral in the show compared to everybody else. So it's like I just don't like nobody in the show. And the characters are very shallow. And I'm telling you, I feel like they over exaggerate on how high schoolers act because I swear some of them, I feel like most of them don't act like how they act like in the show. I can't say all because I know the I'll say all. I would say not all of them because there are people out there that act just like how they do act in the show. But that's why I say some, but majority of high schoolers don't act like that. But yeah, so the characters I don't like. I said all the scenes, the hunching, all that stuff that they got in there. I don't like. Um, what else? I think that's really about it. Um, like I said, season three. I don't know if I'm gonna watch it because I heard that's when they really like kind of just let go of the they probably just fell off really compared to season one and season two because at least season one and season two was very aesthetic and they had the music too, but since they don't got the artist, what's his name, Labyrinth, in season three anymore, I feel like the music ain't gonna hit the same. And like I said, it only gets weirder on from season three with freaking Cassie doing OF and all that. And speaking of that, from what I've seen from season three, I thought like most of these characters would get better, but apparently they don't. Lexi, she gets better. She's better compared to everybody else. And Maddie, she's not doing too bad. I don't think she's doing bad at all. She's doing better than everybody else though. Rue, she's still still a drug addict, but she's not like as addictive like she was in season one and season two. Like season three, she's a lot more lighter with it. Cassie, feel like she's the one that's doing like I feel like she's doing really bad compared to everybody else when she has to revert to OF and doing that. But mostly from what I've heard, mostly because Nate doesn't have the money. He's really broke and he's in a lot of debt, so that's why she decided she wanted to do that. But yeah, I feel like most of the characters really haven't really grown compared to when they were in high school. Jules, I haven't really heard much about Jules, but I heard she's not really doing all that too well either. So, like I said, if I'm gonna watch I don't know if I'm watching season three or not, but this whole show is getting a 4 out of 10. Like I said, 5 out of 10 just to give it some grace, but really 4 out of 10 at heart. I don't really like this show. I thought it was gonna be peak because people kept telling me it was gonna be it's a good show and I promise and they promised that I would love it, but nah, that wasn't the case. I don't really like the show at all. But hey, that's all I really gotta say about this show. I don't recommend you watch Euphoria. I mean, unless you really like high school dramas and all that stuff, then I guess go for it. But I mean, nah, I'm not. I wouldn't recommend this show. It's buns to me at least, but hey, that's really all I gotta say about this. But hey, I'm gonna catch y'all in the next video, and we out of here. Peace.